Hello everyone. Today we have Taming of the Shrew, the other tale or the other play of Shakespeare. Okay. It's a romantic comedy. Okay. First of all, taming. What the meaning of taming? It's how to train an animal to behave well. Okay. What about the shrew? The shrew is the bad-tempered or the disobedient woman or wife. Okay? The play takes place in Pedua. It tells the story of the headstrong Katharine, who was the eldest daughter of Baptista. She was a rude girl, yet rich and beautiful. Katharine had a little sister named Bianca, who was completely different from Katharine. Baptista was blamed because he refused to let Bianca get married before her elder sister. A young gentleman named Petruchio came to Pedua from Verona in search of a wife. Hearing that Katharine was a beautiful rich lady, he decided to marry her regardless of what he had heard about her. He took the challenge and decided to turn her into a gentle, obedient wife. Petruchio begged Baptista to marry Katharine, as he had heard of her modesty and gentle behavior. Meanwhile, Katharine's music teacher rushed into the room to complain that Katharine had broken his head with her instrument because he had dared to find a fault in her performance. I think we know how she was very rude. When Petruchio saw that, he said that he loved her even more. Baptista finally agreed upon the marriage and said he would give Petruchio 20 crowns if he succeeded in taming Katharine. Baptista went out of the room to call Katharine to sit with Petruchio. Meanwhile, Petruchio was preparing himself for the conversation with Katharine and how he would react towards her anger. Katharine came into the room, and after a long conversation, Petruchio told her that they would get married whether she agreed or not. It's not her choice. When Baptista entered the room, Petruchio told him that Katharine agreed to marry him the following Sunday. I think he forced her. On Sunday, Petruchio came late for the wedding. He was dressed untidily. He wasn't willing to change the way he dressed, as Katharine was to marry him, not his clothes. Finding it impossible and useless to persuade him to change his clothes, they went to church. During the marriage ceremony, Petruchio pretended to be mad in order to be more successful in the plan he had made to tame his shrewish wife, Katharine. It was time to go home. Petruchio chose a weak, thin horse for Katharine to ride. They arrived home, and Petruchio decided that Katharine would have neither food nor rest that night. He threw the floor and threw the bedclothes away, but still spoke to her kindly and gently, and how he loved her so much. Katharine started to beg the servant to bring her food secretly, but they had already been given orders not to bring her any food without his permission. After a long time of hunger and tiresome, Petruchio brought a small piece of meat and waited for a word of thanks from Katharine. When she didn't thank him, He took the meat away, but she prayed him not to take it. After that, she had to thank him. She started to be more obedient. Later, Petruchio told Katharine that they were going to dress up and go to her father's house. He brought a tailor who made a beautiful dress and beautiful hat for Katharine. However, Petruchio could find faults in them. Consequently, he decided to go in their poor, ugly clothes. Katharine and Petruchio argued about the time. It was midday and they would arrive late. Petruchio insisted on going whenever he wanted. She had to agree because if she didn't, they wouldn't go her father's house. They had no other choice. Okay? In order to try that, her obedience would last, he spoke to an old gentleman as if he were a fair young lady and asked Katharine to take her arm and help her. Katharine was obedient and spoke to the gentleman as if he were a gentle lady. Petruchio told her that he was a gentleman, not a lady. I think he's trying to drive her crazy. On the way, the gentleman told them that his name was Vincentio and that he was going to visit his son, Lucentio. Lucentio was going to marry Bianca, her sister, or Katharine's sisters. They all headed for Baptista's house and were welcomed warmly. There was also another man who was newly married. He was called Hortensio. Baptista said that he was sad for Petruchio as he had married the shrewish Katharine. Petruchio said that he was willing to make a bet to prove that he had the most obedient wife. The other two husbands, Lucentio and Hortensio, were quite ready to go for the bet and were quite sure that one of them would win and Petruchio would lose, because they were very sure about Katharine and that she was very rude. They started the bet. Okay, first, Lucentio told the servant to ask his wife, Bianca, to come, but Bianca refused. Second, Hortensio told the servant to call his wife to come, but she didn't accept. Finally, Petruchio told the servant to command his wife to come. She came immediately. Petruchio commanded his wife to go and fetch her sister and Hortensio's wife. She did so without asking. Everyone was so astonished that Hortensio and Lucentio told their wives off for their disobedience that made them lose their bets. For more astonishment, Katharine was made mad to give Bianca and Hortensio's wife a lesson on husband's disobedience. Then Katharine became famous in Pedua as Katharine, the most obedient and dutiful wife. This is a summary of our play, The Taming of the Shrew. Next time, inshallah, we are going to take part by part. Thank you.